Hi, welcome to the Addiction Recovery Place, the podcast championing addiction treatment specialists around the world. I'm your host, Chris Langley, and I'm very pleased to introduce today's guest, Tommy Stanhope, the Business Development Specialist at Tangu Recovery in Marietta, Georgia. Tangu Recovery and Wellness specialises in treatment for alcoholism, substance abuse, along with many mental health issues. Tommy is a dedicated professional in the field of addiction recovery, contributing to positive outcomes in the partial hospitalization intensive outpatient treatment facility. Skilled in patient crisis support and crisis intervention and treatment planning, Tommy is committed to empowering individuals on their daily journey to sobriety. Welcome to the Addiction Recovery Place podcast, Tommy. It's great to have you join us and tell us about the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you having me on here, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I couldn't say better myself. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. I know you're incredibly busy today, Tommy, so let's get cracking onto the questions, shall we? So tell us about yourself and tell us how you came to be at your role at the Tangu Recovery.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty funny story. So I'm a person in long-term recovery. I struggled with drug addiction and alcoholism for a while. So I was in and out of treatment for many years. Incarceration, homelessness, all that good stuff. So about 10 years ago, I was in a treatment center in Atlanta, and I met a guy named Shane. And me and Shane got really close. We ended up both leaving together. We relapsed, went our separate ways, right? And just kind of the way things happened, he got sober. A few years after that, I got sober, and we just reconnected through social media, started talking, met up for lunch. And he asked if I would be interested in working in treatment. So he's actually the executive director at Tangu. So he got me my first job in treatment. It was at a detox facility. I ended up leaving from that facility and starting at Tangu, where I'm at now with him. So it's actually pretty wild how all that worked out. But I think it's exactly where I was supposed to be. I think everything happens for a reason, and I love it here.
Wonderful. That's a great story. So you started in recovery yourself, and then you're now working at the facility. So you met with the guy that runs it. That's absolutely fantastic. So how did Tangu Recovery start, and what services did you initially offer when it started?
Yeah, so we are for a long time. Okay, so it's kind of, to make a long story short, so Tangu's been around for a long time, right? They've been around for quite a while. It was primary substance abuse. For a little while there, it started going downhill a little bit. And they were, their census was dropping. So anyways, they were going to close down, and, the ownership that we have now, they saw the opportunity that they had. They ended up buying out Tangu a few years ago, and they restructured the entire company, the entire treatment plan, whole new staff. And they've just built from there. Right. So it's been, like I said, it's been primary substance abuse for a long time. We're a 12-step based treatment center. Also, we have the clinical side of things. And about a month and a half ago, we noticed that there was another need in the community for individuals that might not be suffering from substance abuse that needed mental health treatment. So now it's pretty cool. We have Tangu Recovery, which is primary substance abuse. And now we also have Tangu Wellness, which is primary mental health. So we're able to kind of, best of both worlds. We can get individuals that are dual diagnosed. They could do half the day in wellness, half the day in recovery. We have people that are just primary substance abuse and people that are just primary mental health. So it's been really cool to be a part of that from the beginning, the wellness side of things. So
this has been a new development for you to work with people who are dual diagnosis as well. So you work with both clients basically, yeah, or clients experiencing both problems. Wow, that's pretty rare. So how many team members do you have at Tangu? And tell us about the team and what you guys do.
Yeah, so let me think. We have executive director, that's Shane, like I was telling you about. Our clinical director on substance abuse, his name is Michael Wiley. He's phenomenal. He's been doing this for a long time. And then we have 4 clinicians. And then, of course, we have behavioral health technicians. I want to say we have a men's housing director, and then 3 men techs, and then our women's housing director and 2 female techs. And another cool thing that we do over at Tangu is we give individuals the opportunity to become junior staff. So if they come through the program, they're a good client. They participate in group, they're working the steps, they're staying sober, being a leader in the community, then they have an opportunity to be junior staff. So what they do, it's really just free housing and utilities, and they just help out with the clients, transportation, doing drug testing, leading groups, things like that. So we have a couple junior staff right now, and then our wellness side is totally separate. So it's two different suites, totally different staff. Our clinical director over there, her name's Alana. She's a licensed clinical social worker. We have 3 psychiatric nurse practitioners, which is pretty cool because most places don't have any, let alone 3. And then I believe as of now, we have 2 clinicians over there. We haven't been open on wellness very long. So we've been growing pretty quickly. Right now, our census is capped at 20. So we're looking at hiring some more staff and trying to get that census a little bit higher. So yeah. And another thing I should mention is the majority of our staff on our substance abuse side is in recovery as well. So they're licensed clinicians, but they also know what these clients are going through. Right. And we found that to be extremely beneficial. Right. You know, the concept of one alcoholic helping another is timeless. So we believe in that big time.
Yeah. So how many clients have you already got within your wellness clinic at the moment? Have you got?
So right now we're staying at around 20.
20 already?
We have 20. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's grown. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So it's been really cool, like I said, to be a part of that. So we're at 20 right now. I'm looking at hiring another clinician, and I think we're going to probably get up to 25. And then I think we're probably going to stay there for a little bit. We don't want it to get too out of hand because we like the one-on-one, the hands-on treatment, right? We want them to be engaged. And obviously, as you know, I'm sure the higher the numbers, the less attention these individuals get and the attention that they need. And so we don't want to deprive anybody of that. So right now we're staying at about 20.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you on the team and of achieving this within a few months. That's quite remarkable. So I wish you all the very best for that, because that's a very important part of a therapy. Dual diagnosis is key. It really is.
It is. It is.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in the UK, dual diagnosis was very difficult because of the 2 departments that we had over there. So to have a facility that's, helping with both it's absolutely wonderful.
It is.
Over the past couple of years, Tommy, so what changes of risk have you seen or noticed in drug use within your community in your state?
So, the one that definitely stands out more than anything is just the fentanyl epidemic. Like that's the main thing. So like I said, I'm in recovery. I'm an opiate guy, right? Like heroin was my deal when I was using, and it's a completely different ballgame. It seems like left and right, you're seeing RIP on somebody's Facebook wall, and it wasn't really like that, just a handful of years ago. And that's the main thing that we've been seeing for sure, as far as, changes in that environment and kind of what's been transpiring in the drug community. Right. And then it's not only fentanyl. Now you have, the xylazine. Right. And so there's the physical component of that. Right. I know that was more up north Philadelphia, but we've definitely seen it starting to migrate south. And so that's definitely a major concern for us.
So how long do you think this kind of new phenomenon has been going on for within your state? Because it seems to be exploding everywhere with fentanyl. I've had discussions in the past with people saying fentanyl are now found even in cannabis or cocaine, or it's just a whole new ballgame, as you said.
It's everywhere, and I don't know how it came about. But it's a thing. You don't know what you're getting nowadays. Like we just had this girl that I grew up with. She didn't even use opiates. She didn't use fentanyl. And she ended up buying some Xanax on the street, taking it, and she overdosed and she passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I would say that the fentanyl has really kind of taken off just in the last, 3 years, 4 years. When I was first getting sober, it was there, but nobody was really wanting. People kind of saw the risk of it, and it was always like, no, I don't want that. And then, I don't know what changed in that amount of time, but it's completely taken over the market for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've even heard of stories, and I I interviewed my old boss in the UK a few weeks ago, and he said the same thing is beginning to get over into Europe now, which is it's really, really scary stuff. Um,
It
what
is.
would what would you say the main drugs that you're coming across that your clients are experiencing problems with? Is it opiates or amphetamines, or what seems to be is there any trends at all?
So I'd say fentanyl is up there.
Mm,
Fentanyl is definitely one of the top ones. Of course, alcohol. That's just, I mean, alcoholism has been a
yeah,
thing since, the beginning of time,
long
since
time. Yeah,
since man
yeah.
crushed grapes. So
Mhm,
we see a good amount of alcohol, stimulants, more so meth. That's usually from a more southern demographic. We see a lot of that,
mm,
but it's pretty spread out. It's pretty spread out, but those are the main ones. It's usually alcohol. We see a handful of benzos,
yeah.
Xanax, but
Mhm,
that's usually coupled with alcohol. But the main, fentanyl and meth are the main ones, really.
yeah, yeah. Are you able to test for fentanyl? Are there tests available if someone's been using opiates? You can show if if they've got fentanyl as well.
Yes, we do. We actually test for fentanyl and the analogs of fentanyl. So
Mm,
we send our urine test to a lab. So
okay.
it's not just a dipstick or cup
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
We send it off to a lab, and so we get pretty accurate results. And
Excellent.
we're able to test for just about everything. We test for kratom, um, because we know with this demographic and we know how the addict mind works. If they can get away with something, a lot of people are going to try.
Mhm.
So we take every avenue that we can to try to mitigate that as much as possible. So yeah, we can test for fentanyl.
Okay. Excellent stuff. Um, whilst doing these podcasts, Tommy, I've heard quite a variety of descriptions around harm reduction, and being from Britain, we've got very different ideas as well. So, can you tell us your opinion on what harm reduction is and why it's so important within the therapeutic environment?
Yes. So I think it's extremely beneficial.
Mhm.
And I think that it's something that we need to address more in the South.
Mm,
Um, cause let's be honest, people, people are going to use, right? People are going to use, and you can tell them not to all you want. You can put laws in place as much as you want, but it's not going to stop. Right. Like,
yeah.
and that's been time tested. And
Mhm.
so I think harm reduction is extremely beneficial as far as, preventing transmittable diseases,
Yes.
giving people, and, a lot of these places, it's not only can they exchange needles, but there's counseling, there's meetings there. So they can at least be exposed to recovery, where
Mm,
otherwise they may not. So I think
mhm.
it's extremely beneficial. And I think we'd a lot more of it down here in Georgia for sure.
Yes. One of my next questions is, what harm reduction programs are available in your state? Do you have needle exchange or any kind of anything like that that would be a little bit more progressive than the standard? Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying, we need a lot more of it. So we have
Okay.
the Atlanta Coalition of Harm Reduction, which is a needle exchange, but that's about the only one that we have. And I think that it definitely should be spread a little wider. That's downtown Atlanta. So I mean, it caters to a good amount of people, but there's Cobb County, Gwinnett County, DeKalb County, all these surrounding areas where the fentanyl epidemic is almost worse in the surrounding counties. And there's nothing like that in any of the counties. So, but I know it was just it. So we're in the Bible Belt here in the South, right? So very old school, very traditional. It was just made legal in 2019 to have a needle exchange. So these are just kind of recent developments just in the last couple of years. So we definitely could use more of that down here for sure. But at least there is some there. We do have um, the coalition in Atlanta, like I was saying.
Yeah. So before 2019, there was pretty much nothing available for harm reduction around
There
needle
wasn't.
exchanges or wow. Okay. Okay.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
that's well, at least you've kind of progressed a little bit, I suppose, from what you
Yeah.
had before. So, yeah, excellent. Um, so obviously you've told me about the wellbeing uh, service that you're providing. Have you got any future plans for Tango recovery at all?
So we just want to help as many people as we can, so like I said, our substance abuse has been around for a while. We're pretty well established. We just started wellness. And I know that there's been talk of opening up another location. Um,
Okay.
We're not quite sure where yet, but that's the main goal, right? Is just to continue to expand, continue to share what we have been given and what we have learned, and just try to help as many addicts and alcoholics as we can.
Wonderful.
And then of course the mental health side as well.
Yes. Yep. Excellent. Well, I wish you all the very best for the future. That's for sure. Last couple of questions. Where can people find you and your work online? So if someone wants to look up your service, where can they go?
Yeah. So tangurecovery.com would be the easiest way. You could always find me on social media. My name's Tommy Stanhope. So, DM me, send me a message. I'm, more than happy to answer any questions. My LinkedIn as well. Again, Tommy Stanhope. It has all the descriptions of Tangu on there and what I do specifically. And like I said, any way to reach me, I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed. And finally, do you have a message for anyone who thinks they may need help for their addiction? What would you say to someone going through the struggles of addiction right now if they're hearing this podcast?
Oh, that's a good one. I'd say just make that phone call. I know how that phone can feel about 1,000 pounds, when you're crying out for help. And to me, it doesn't matter who it's to. Call a crisis line, Google a treatment center, call a friend that you know in recovery, call your parents, call a loved one, just pick up the phone, make a call, and somebody's going to be there to help. Right. And my biggest thing is just follow those suggestions. I remember getting in recovery, people told me to do some stuff that they felt like would help me stay clean. And at the time I couldn't understand what that had to do with me not using. But I did it anyways. And my life changed drastically. So my biggest thing is just make that call. That's the first step. Just make that call and take those steps.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Is there anything else you want to mention that I've not asked you at all?
Nope. I think we're good. I think we just covered everything. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
I just hope that somebody listening to this, heard something that they like, and, not just about Tangu, but just recovery in general. We just want people to get sober. It doesn't have to be a Tangu. We just want them to get clean.
Yep. Wonderful. Well, that's a perfect way to end today's podcast, Tommy. Lastly, I just want to thank you very much for giving up your very valuable time. And I want to also pass on my congratulations to you, the team, your clinical directors, for what you're doing for your state is absolutely wonderful. And it's been a real privilege to speak to you today. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much, Tommy.